Hi, I'm Mary. Welcome back to Marnie's TV Zealots. It's just me this time. You guys, I went to see Us. I I saw most of it, like this. So it was quite an adventure. Um, so I am here to recap the movie and to tell you everything that happens if you're too scared to go see it yourself. Let's do it. Okay. So, Us, the movie, it starts out with just some information dump about how there's thousands of miles of tunnels underneath us that are unused, or so we think. And next cut, we are in a flashback of the 1980s. A little girl and her two parents. It's Adelaide, Lupita Nyong'o's character. And she wanders away from her parents. She goes to a house of mirrors that says, find yourself or something, which again, watch yourself, find yourself. Oh, it's crazy good. She goes in there, and there's another child in there that is basically her. It's her. And so then she kind of wakes up from this memory. And I'm like, oh, so they're just going to give us little bitty snippets at a time. So that's when you meet the rest of the stars of the movie. You've got Winston Duke, who plays Lupita Nyong'o's husband. Very opposite of M'Baku here, like not a lot of BDE. If you're looking for any of that, he's acting, okay? He's not here. And you've got the two kids. You got a teenage girl and a little boy. They're great. The little boy, is coming up with some, brand new language. I don't know why, but, everything he says is weird. So that kind of got me thinking. I was like, oh, he's one of them, but I guess he's not. He's just weird, just a weird kid. So they go back to the house that she grew up in. All her little, things are in there. Her ballerina bar, things that are kind of starting to trigger her. She's seeing too many things that are coincidences. And then her husband's like, let's go to the beach. The same beach where the thing happened at the very beginning of the movie. And I'm just sitting here like, what are you talking about? Don't make her go back there. Ah! And she's so super paranoid this whole time. Her and Jason, neither of them are very good socially. So they go and meet the white family. I can only remember Elizabeth Moss. She's the wife, and then you have the douchey husband, and then their twin girls. And they look like they have a lot, but they don't really have a lot in their hearts. So I feel like one of the things that Jordan Peele was kind of trying to bring about is the more comforts you have, the easier it is to fall into complacency. There are people out there with nothing who have more fulfilling lives, and so they're just meant to be that look. So that night, oh wait, let's rewind here. The names. Lupita Nyong'o is Adelaide. Winston Duke, what is his name? Abraham is his doppelganger. Gabe. Winston Duke is Gabe. And the two kids are Zora and Jason. And I feel like each of these names is that for a reason. Especially the little boy. Jason, when I think of Jason, I think of the Greek hero who kind of saves everyone, Jason and the Argonauts. And then his tethered other is named Pluto, the coldest planet, the god of the dead. I'm like, come on, come on. Like, it's way too smart for all of us. So that night, Jason has that little ambulance card that he sticks in a door because he likes playing in this closet because it's like a walk-in closet. And whenever the ambulance gets kicked out, you get locked inside of that closet. So, of course, Zora, the A-plus sister that she is, locks him in there. And there's a couple little weird jumpy scenes, but it's like, oh, okay, like maybe something is going to happen. Like, I'm super uncomfortable already. Like, Adelaide is right. Something is coming. Because I've seen the trailers, and I feel like this is the night she's wearing the outfit. It's going to happen. And then you find out that she never said anything to her husband about that terrible incident that happened to her when she was a little girl. She finally tells him. And he's like, you held all this in for all this time, and the power goes out. And then there's a family in our driveway, and I was like, time to cover the eyes. And so, like in the trailer, Gabe comes out there, he's like, if you want to get crazy, we could get crazy, And so they advance, and he's trying to hold the door closed because they're coming in. But then Red, who is Adelaide's doppelganger, knows that there is a key inside a fake rock, a hide key, in the door. She unlocks the door and comes in. She has everyone sit down. She has Adelaide handcuff herself to the table, and she tells them a story. She said, there's a princess and her shadow. She's talking about herself and Adelaide. And she met a prince, and that was Abraham. And she said, and then she had 2 kids. I was forced to have these 2 kids. So what you're starting to figure out is the tethered people, they are compelled to do the same things that the humans on the surface, you and I, are doing. That's crazy. She said when she had, wonderful meals, I had to eat rabbit. And you had Christmas presents, I didn't have anything to play with. It's ash and fire. So that's where all the rabbits came from. That's why there's so many rabbits. And then commence the violence. Red basically pairs everyone off. She's the only clone that can talk. Everyone else kind of communicates with like clicks and moans and growls. So she sends each family member off to be chased by their clone. It was absolutely the strangest thing I've ever seen. Abraham chases Gabe. Gabe decides he's going to run out to the boat and kind of get him out that way. Zora she just says run, because Zora is a track star, and so both the girls are super fast. So they go on a crazy foot race, and then he's like, the 2 little boys, like he's like, you guys go play, don't set the house on fire, LOL, because little boy. Both of those little boys are actually kind of obsessed with fire. That scared me so bad. And so you cut to the white people, and they are killed with a swiftness. Like, they have an agenda that they have to get done. You know what I'm saying? Red and them were taking their time, and at first I thought it was just because they were the stars of the movie. And so, of course, somebody had to explain what was happening. Somebody had to sit down and tell us. But that's not just it. This is a story of revenge. And I had no idea until about halfway through. So Gabe ends up killing the dad of the tethered side of the. He ends up killing his clone. Drown him in the boat or whatever. So they boat over to the white people's house thinking it's going to be safe. Everybody's dead except for the clones. So they have to go in there and kill the clones. Like the teenage girl, Zora, she's at a golf club. The little boy has like a heavy award or something. And Adelaide has a hot poker. Has a poker from the fire. And so like they go through there, kill everybody, trying to get some supplies or something. I don't know. Gabe's leg is badly damaged, so he's kind of just limping. And there's a moment when Adelaide kills one of the girl clones where she sounds just like a primal beast. It's scary. And the little boy sees it and he's like freaked out. And so then they're just like, okay, now we just need to make an escape attempt. So the teenage girl is like, I'm driving, period. So they all have to stop and have an argument about who's going to drive. This is the problem with diversity in writing. Like, I honestly don't think a black family would sit down and have an argument about who's going to drive. That girl would have gotten dragged out by her skinny ponytail and told to sit in the back and we're going. But anyway, this is a movie. And so they drive, somehow by magic, oh my gosh, the teenage clone catches up to them, and Zora is the one to, have to run her over, do some maneuvering. So she gets hit so hard she flies out into the woods. Adelaide, Lupita Nyong'o, is like, you guys stay here. I need to make sure that she's actually dead. And she dies kind of laughing. And Adelaide just stands there and watches her die. And it was very strange. I didn't really know what to do. And how, like, all of the other clones kind of stay out of her way. Like, when they went to the white people house, the mom was almost going to kill her. She just handcuffed her and left her there. She didn't kill her. And I was just like, do they all know about her? Like, what's going on? So, next up, they're driving back to the beach, passing by, like, all these neighborhoods full of dead people. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this just isn't the one family. This isn't the one street. This is nationwide. Is on your side. And I was flipping out because right in front of them was their car on fire with the little boy clone waiting for them to show up. And they're like, oh no. And Lupita is like, we gotta get through, she gets out the car and she won't kill the little boy. She won't. And I get that because I wouldn't be able to either. So the little boy realizes, he puts two and two together, that the clones will do what they want, what they do. So he starts walking backwards. So the little boy will start taking steps back as well. And he walks back into the fire that he started. And on the side, Lupita's clone is waiting for the little boy, grabs him and runs. Lupita goes ape. Like, she's like, oh my God. So she chases her and then her, Jason, back into the original House of Mirrors. This scene really got me. This is the beginning of the end. I've kept you guys so long already, so stick with me. I'm almost done. This whole time there have been little snippets about what actually happened on that night. and how the repercussions of it, there's saying, I think she has, post-traumatic stress. She wouldn't talk for months. Like, they couldn't figure out how to help her do things and have things. And like everybody else in Lupita's family was eating fast food. She's only eating like fresh fruit, you know. Um, and so she goes in there and she is turning corners. She's finds an escalator, goes down it, finds the classroom. And I'm just like, oh, what? And there's Red waiting for her. She was like, that night I knew that I was created for something, She's like, that night that you danced, she said, I knew that God had a plan. And I'm sitting here like, what is she talking about? Like, it was absolutely insane. And she said that the government was trying to clone people all over the country. So I was right, all over the country, to try to control them. But it turns out that the clones that they created of us, of the people in the above world, we were actually controlling the ones underground. So they abandoned it. And I guess they just left them to continue to procreate. And she said ever since that night, she's like, I've been making plans. It took years to execute. By now, it's 25 years in the future. She's been thinking about this for decades. And one of the things that, one of the commercials that the little girl was watching was a commercial from 1986, the Hands Across America to End Hunger in the United States and all over the world. And so you start seeing people in line doing their hands across America. This was the huge event that Red had been planning. And she says to Lupita, when she says, you could have taken me with you. Like, we both could have had a life above world. And like, I was destined to stay down here. And then they fight, and Lupita chokes Red to death. Just like gets her handcuffs around her and chokes her to death. And it sounds terrible. She looks in the locker, finds her son, who does not want to talk to her. And I'm just like, and I realize at this point, Red is the bad guy. I'm just sitting there like, Red's the bad guy. And they find a ambulance. Everybody gets in. Lupita's driving, and it goes back to that first scene, that first night when she's in the House of Mirrors, and the Adelaide goes down and sees Red, and Red chokes her until she passes out. So her throat is damaged, and she talks crazy, like the way that Red was talking. And she handcuffs her. She drags her down the escalator, down to the bunk room by the classrooms, and handcuffs her to her bunk and puts on her Thriller t-shirt and goes up to join the surface dwellers above ground. And you realize that this whole time, Adelaide has been the clone, and that Red was the little girl that was the real one. And I'm just sitting there like, what do you do? This is why the symbol of the Rorschach ink blot is on the poster of Us, because this is something that it's what you make it. Like, anything. This could be anything. It could be a butterfly. It could be a rocking chair with a raccoon in it. Like, this is what you make it. And I feel like this movie was so well done. The story was great. The violence, I can't stand horror movies all the time, but there are a few I like 28 Days Later. Like, again, great story, original stuff. And I feel like it was so well done, so worth it. If you can take a horror movie, then you will definitely enjoy Us from Jordan Peele. So I hope that you enjoyed my recap of the movie, and we will see you guys soon. Bye.